Hello class 11th, I am Nash Lambert, your economics guru, and welcome to the online tutorial sessions for economics. Today we are going to continue our first chapter, which is introductory part of microeconomics, the introduction. And today we are going to start the new topic, which is microeconomics versus macroeconomics, and we will study it separately too. Now first of all, what is microeconomics? When problems of choice, you already covered the problems of choice in the previous videos, all the economic problems. You know what are economic problems? And which are studied and addressed at the level of individuals. All those economic problems which are limited resources, unlimited wants, unlimited human wants. So these are your economic problems, and which are studied. These economic problems are studied and they are addressed. They are addressed at the level of individuals, not at the level of whole country, but at a level of individual. For me, for my family, at an individual level, or for an individual company. So if we are addressing the problems of choice or economic problems at an individual level, then that study comes under the microeconomics. Now, micro. This word is taken from a Greek word which is mikros, and this word means small. The word mikros means small. Now, let's take an example. Demand of salt by an individual household. Demand of salt by an individual household. Demand by a family. Then that is known as demand of salt by an individual household. This comes under the microeconomics, under which we study. Under the microeconomics, we also study the demand theory, the production theory, and price determination and factor of prices. These theories and these stuff you will be studying in the further chapters. This is just an introductory part. You must know what that these are the things which you will study in the future in this book. Now, when problem of choice, that is the economic problems, are studied and addressed at the level of the whole country, now the things is changed. When the economic problems are studied and addressed at the level of the country as a whole economy, then it is known as macroeconomics, and that study comes under the macroeconomics. Now the term macro is taken from a Greek word which is macros, and it means large. Is that clear? Word macro is taken from macros, which is taken from Greek word which means large. Now, example, the aggregate demand of goods and services. Here, it was just an individual thing. What? Salt, just an individual thing by an individual household, by a family. But here, the aggregate demand, the whole total of all the demand for all the goods and services in the country, everything, all the goods and services, then this comes under the macroeconomics. When we study about an individual company or an individual industry or an individual market or an individual household, then it comes under the microeconomics. But when we study about the aggregates, when we take our country and economy as a whole, then it comes under the macroeconomics, under which we study the national income. We have to calculate the income of of our whole country, the total employment, the general pricing level, and such things. So basically, in class 11th you will study the microeconomics, and in class 12th you will be studying the macroeconomics. Is that clear, students? Okay. Next, let's come to the next topic. Second basis is goal. The basic goal of microeconomics is resource allocation for sustainment of individual demands. The basic goal of microeconomics is the resource allocation. You have studied in the economic problems how to allocate the resources for the individual's demand, for each individual's demand, how to allocate those resources for individual, for the sustainment of individuals. And for macroeconomics, the basic goal of macroeconomics is determination of aggregate income, employment or output. The main goal of macroeconomics is to determine the total income, the aggregate income of all the sectors, the total employment of all the sectors, output, the production done by all the sectors. This is the main goal. Now the next focus, the next basis of the differences is fundamental parameter for decision making. On what basis we do the decision making? In microeconomics, we do all the decision making on the basis of prices. What is the price of an individual product? All the planning will be around price only. And what about macroeconomics? All the planning, all the government budgets, all the big policies are done according to the national income. And what about the last one? What are the key tools? What are the important tools of micro and macroeconomics? The important tools of microeconomics are demand, supply of an individual commodity or factor. These are the important key terms which you will be studying in the further chapters, the further upcoming chapters. So don't worry about these things. What is demand, what is supply? You will get to know eventually. But for now, you just know that these are the key tools like demand and supply of an individual commodity. And the key tools for macroeconomics is aggregate demand and aggregate supply for the whole economy. Here there is only demand and supply for individual commodity, but here aggregate the whole total demand, the whole total supply for the whole economy. And this comes under the macroeconomics, under the basis of key tools. So basically these are your differences, and the topic of micro and macroeconomics is almost completed. Now let's move to the next topic, which is positive and normative economy. The next topic is positive and normative economics. Let's start with the positive economics. What is the meaning of positive economics? It deals with what is and how the economic problems are actually solved. They are the actual what is the problem and how it can be solved. They are the facts. We are talking about the facts. It deals with the what is the problem and how it can be solved. The facts, on the basis of facts, are actually solved. Actually, how they are solved? We are talking about positive economics. Now, these questions and how they can be solved, can they be verified? Yes, they can be verified with actual data. Here we talk about the actual data. We talk about data, the facts. Now, what is the purpose of positive economy? The purpose of positive economy, its aim to make real descriptions of an economic activity. We are talking about the real descriptions. What is the facts? The total population of our country, the facts, the national income of our country, the facts, the GDP of our country, facts, employment level, facts. All these things are facts, the actual data. So here in the positive economics, the aim is to make real descriptions of an economic activities. Now, is it suggestive? Is it a fact or is it a suggestion? No, it is a fact. It is based upon facts, thus it's not a suggestion. So it is not suggestive. It's a fact. They are actual data. So they are not suggestive, they are the actual facts. Now, is there any value judgments? See, value judgments differ from person to person. For me, lots of employment is good, but for some other people, lots of employment is not good. See, the people may differ in their opinions. So, is it a value judgment? It is not a value judgment. Why? Because it is neutral between ends. People have different opinions. So, it is not a value judgment. What are the examples of positive economics? Prices in India, prices in Indian economy are constantly rising. It's a fact. The prices in Indian economy are constantly rising. They are increasing. So it's a fact. It belongs to positive economics. There are inequalities in income of our economy. This is also a fact. there is a very differentiated scale of distribution of income. Some people have very little and some people have huge amounts of properties. So these are the facts. They can be verified. The purpose is to make a real description. This is the reality of Indian economy. Is this suggestive? No, these are facts. Is there any value judgment? No. This is the neutral between ends. This is neutral. This is the facts. So this is positive economics. Now let's talk about normative economics. It deals with what ought to be or how the economic problem should be solved. It means what ought to be, means what should be there. What should be there and how economic problem should be solved. We are talking about a opinion, how I think it should be solved. Now I'm not talking about how it is solved. I'm talking about how it should be solved according to me. So this is the opinion. What ought to be, what should be, and how economic problem should be solved. Not actually solved, should be. Now, can it be verified? No, it cannot be verified because they are just the opinions, not the actual data. This is just an opinion. Now, what is the aim? What is the purpose? It's aim to determine the ideals. Everyone follows some ideals. So, it is just to determine the ideals. My opinion matters here. Now, it is based on individual's opinion and therefore it is suggestive in nature. This is individual's opinion, therefore it is being suggestive in nature. People suggest that government should take these steps, government should take those steps. So these are suggestive in nature, therefore this is suggestive. Normative economics is suggestive because it is not based on actual data, it is based on the individual's opinions. Now, is there any value judgment? Yes, it gives value judgment. It gives judgment according to my mind, according to my thinking, according to my opinion. So, the values are affected here. The judgment which I will give, it will be according to my values. Is that clear? Now, examples. India should take steps to control rising prices. Is this a fact? It's not a fact. It should. India should. When ought to be or should be, these kind of words come in the economics, it means we are talking about normative economics. So, India should take steps to control rising prices. It's a normative economics. It's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. It's my opinion that India should take steps. Now, income inequalities should be reduced. This is also an example of normative economics. Why should be reduced? It's an opinion. It's my opinion that price or income inequality should be reduced. So therefore, this is your normative economics. You can differentiate things like positive economics deals with what is and how economic problems are actually solved. Normative economics, it deals with what ought to be and how the economic problems should be solved. It can be verified, it cannot be verified, it can be verified with actual data, and here no actual data. Purpose is to make real descriptions of an economy. Here the purpose is to determine the ideals, my ideals. Is it suggestive? No, it is not suggestive, it is totally based on the facts. But here, normative economics, it is suggestive because it is based on some individual's opinion. It don't give any value judgments, but here it gives value judgment. Here are the examples that price of Indian economy are constantly rising. India should take steps to control rising prices. And here there are inequalities in income of our economy. Income inequality should be reduced. So here are the actual problems with data, and here are the should be opinions to take care of these problems. So that's all for today. That's all for this video. I hope you all have learned this positive economics and normative economics, and that's all for today. Stay home, stay safe.